Welcome to part 3 of the We Are STEM Beauty is STEM Deep series, done in partnership with the Toledo, Ohio chapter of the Links Incorporated. You are in for a treat. Today, you will hear from 3 dynamic women about their journey in cosmetic chemistry and the beauty industry. The panel features Dr. Amber Evans, Miss Cynthia Johnson, and Miss Jasmine Johnson. They are all cosmetic chemists who have taken different paths. I hope this discussion inspires you to pursue your passion and not give up. Hello, Dr. Evans, Miss Cynthia Johnson, and Miss Jasmine Johnson. My name is Leila, and I'm 9 years old. I am the founder of Leila's Promise. Leila's Promise empowers and encourages youth voices and service. I appreciate you for joining us today for our Beauty and STEM panel. I'm so excited to learn about each of you being a woman in STEM and more about cosmetic chemistry. Is it okay if we start with some short introductions?
Yes, absolutely.
Of course.
Okay. We will start with Dr. Evans. Dr. Amber Evans. Oh, you can go ahead.
No, you can go ahead. Go on.
Okay. Dr. Amber Evans is a hair care scientist and cosmetic chemist. She's a senior manager of product development at Moroccan Oil. Would you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Leila. It's such a pleasure to speak with you and the other panel members today. I am originally from Columbia, South Carolina. I've been in the cosmetic industry now for about 15 years or so. Right now, I work for Moroccan Oil, leading the development of products for prestige hair and body care products. Prior to that, I developed ingredients for mainly hair care, but also a bit of body care and oral care as well. And then I've done a bit of upstream hair care research on hair colorants, hair conditioners, etc. Again, it's such a pleasure to speak with you and the other panel members today, and I thank you again.
No problem. Thank you, Dr. Evans. Next, we have Miss Cynthia Johnson. Miss Johnson is a cosmetic chemist and the founder and CEO of Cindy J Cosmetic Labs. Please tell us a little more about yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Leila. This is such an inspiring panel to be upon here, and also an inspiring event for little girls like yourself. So you're doing an excellent job with this. Hey, everyone. I'm Cynthia Johnson. I'm founder and CEO of Cindy J Cosmetic Labs, and I specialize in hair care and skincare products, custom formulating products for business owners that want to start their own hair care and skincare line. I've been in the cosmetic chemistry industry for almost 7 years, very versatile when it comes to different types of products. I am from Baltimore, Maryland, and I am also a Bachelor of Science degree holder in chemistry, and I also have a Master of Science degree in cosmetic science from the University of Cincinnati. Also went to Lincoln University for my Bachelor of Science degree. So with the education, with the experience, the work experience, it was only right to give back to the small business, indie beauty business community and help them start their own cosmetic science line. Definitely an honor to be amongst these amazing women on the panel. And again, Leila, you're just doing an excellent job.
Thank you, Dr. Evans. Thank you, Miss Johnson. Last but not least, we have Miss Jasmine Johnson. Miss Johnson is a cosmetic chemist and works in product development for Fresh. Please tell us a little more about yourself.
Of course. Thank you so much, Lila, for having me. I'm so excited to be on this panel. So, as she said, my name is Jasmine Johnson. I'm a cosmetic chemist, and I'm also a product development manager. I've been in the industry for about 5 years. And prior to being a product development manager, I worked as a skincare scientist. And prior to that, I was a hair care scientist for multicultural ethnic hair brand. I'm from Long Island, New York, and I have a bachelor's degree in chemistry.
Thank you, Miss Johnson. Thank you again for being here. Let's get started with a few questions. When did you become interested in STEM, and what was your inspiration? All of you guys can answer this question.
Okay.
I, I guess
I
I'll
can
go
start.
first.
Well,
I
okay.
was always interested in STEM fields, like just various areas, everything from chemistry to even meteorology to astrology, astronomy, all sorts of things. So I was just always interested in science and really like how things work and why things work. And I think science explains a lot, a lot of those things. And then for whatever reason, I was just naturally good at math. It's not that I really love it or anything, but I was just always good with it. So it was a nice combination of the two to really, use that curiosity for how things work and why they work, and then apply it to something greater.
Okay. And yeah, you can answer next.
Yeah, so I definitely got into STEM or just chemistry in general when I was in high school. And I was actually a student athlete. So I just knew I was going to be an athlete for the rest of my life. I knew I was going to play basketball. I knew I was going to be a cheerleader. I don't know how I was going to do both, but I was going to do both at the same time in high school. And then my chemistry professor said, you have a niche for chemistry. You're already great at math. I was taking like calculus 2 or 3 in as a sophomore, and also took like AP statistics as a junior. So I was really good with math, but I didn't know that chemistry would be knocking on my door as a sophomore. And he said, you know what, you should look into cosmetic science. And I told him, I don't want to be a scientist. I want to be an athlete. That's my passion. And of course, he told me you have to have a plan B. So looking at that, I said, you know what, let me look into cosmetic chemistry. And as soon as I did, I fell in love with it. Just using that innovation, that mindset of creating products, but also being analytical, getting that research in as well. It just made sense for me to become a cosmetic chemist. So ever since I was 15 years old, I just knew I was going to be in STEM.
Nice.
Well, and my story is a little similar to hers, which is so funny. But in elementary and junior high school, I was really into writing and reading. You see the books. I don't know if you can see my books in my corner, but I read a lot. So it was my English teachers and my social studies teachers that I resonated with around that time. But then once I got to high school, or I want to say around 11th grade when I took chemistry, there was a chemistry teacher that was really influential to me. I was always good, like okay, B student in math and science, but for some reason I was getting A's in chemistry. So I was like, okay. So when I was like building the relationship with my teacher, she dropped the idea of cosmetic science. And I was already into beauty. I loved magazines. I loved America's Next Top Model, all of these things. And YouTube at that time, like the early days of YouTube, it was like hair tutorials. I was so into that. So the fact that I could create the products that I was already trying and experimenting with, like with my hair naturally, and then eventually skincare, I knew that's what I wanted to do um, after I took that chemistry class.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
The three of you have a background in cosmetic chemistry. For those who are watching that don't know what cosmetic chemistry is, Dr. Evans, can you please tell us what it is?
Sure. So cosmetic chemistry is really an interdisciplinary field that encompasses not just chemistry, but also pieces of microbiology, pieces of biology, pieces of other scientific fields. And it's really about using all of that information to understand how products impact skin and hair and nails and teeth, and also how those products even come together. So chemicals are ingredients, but how do those ingredients interact with each other? And the different types of ingredients, whether that be a surfactant or a polymer, how do those ingredients interact with each other? And then how do they interact with us in terms of our hair, our skin, our nails, and that sort of thing?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Evans. All three of you are cosmetic chemists, but I love that you are doing different things. Can you share about your path to becoming a cosmetic chemist? What steps did you take? Miss Jasmine, would you like to answer first?
Of course. So, as mentioned before, in high school, that's when I was interested. So, I went to college and I majored in chemistry. It sounds straightforward, but it was not as straightforward as that. I was going into a field that was pretty niche, and everybody around me were pre med and pre vet, which is amazing. But I had a different path. So, I had to kind of find my way. So, I did a lot of Googling. I found the chemistcorner.com. I LinkedIn searched a lot of people, and I applied to internships, but unfortunately, it's so competitive. I didn't get the cosmetic science laboratory internship. So I had other internships where I learned about the beauty industry, such as a startup company, which is a company that is starting from the very beginning. That doesn't mean that they're not how do I say it? It doesn't mean that they're not experienced. It just means that they're very new compared to somebody who's been in the industry for years and years. So in those type of companies, you wear many hats. So I learned a lot about the beauty industry and a little bit about formulation, even though they weren't cosmetic chemists, but they were making lipsticks. I kind of learned how to do things on that end. And then after another internship I got 2 years later, wasn't in the lab, but it was in product development, but for fragrance. So that's how I gained some type of experience in beauty. But it wasn't until I got a little desperate and went to stores and was looking at the back of bottles to find addresses to different companies where I could apply to to get that actual experience. So I did a lot of that and blind emailing, and that's how I got my first job to break into the industry. That was at Sundial, the creators of Shea Moisture, Nubian Heritage, and Madam C.J. Walker Beauty. So that was like my foundation. Um, that's how I broke into it. So everybody's path is different because it's not pretty linear, again, because it's such a niche industry, but that's my start.
Okay.
Nice. Well, I'll go next. So, as Jasmine was saying, as far as going to college and majoring in chemistry, very very similar story as well. I went to Lincoln University to get my chemistry degree, and then and then afterwards, I almost didn't take the cosmetic science route as far as getting my master's. I wanted to kind of expand cosmetic science because I wanted to open up like my own manufacturing site. So I thought to myself, let me become a chemical engineer. That was the craziest mistake that I made because I went to North Carolina A&T to major in chemical engineering for my master's degree, and I just said, no, this is not for me. I just need to focus on cosmetic science. And of course, I was money hungry. I was chasing among the money. I said, oh, I can make more as a chemical engineer than a cosmetic chemist, and I didn't follow that passion. So I don't want to say I wasted a year, but I could have definitely taken a different route for that year. So I went ahead and applied to different jobs in the Maryland area, and I was able to pick up my first job as an entry-level cosmetic chemist. Only needed 0 to 2 years of experience. So very blessed to have come across that, especially in Maryland. For those of you who aren't familiar with Maryland and contract manufacturing, we manufacture a lot of drug-related products, not a lot of cosmetics. And I want to say there's like 3 contract manufacturers here in Maryland, and I was so blessed to get an entry-level position at the first contract manufacturer. So then I thought to myself, I do want to get my master's because I want to get that book experience within cosmetic science. So then I applied for University of Cincinnati's cosmetic science degree program. And I was working as a cosmetic chemist and getting my Master of Science degree. So it just made sense that this was my path to becoming a cosmetic chemist. I think the one thing that I have learned that I would tell younger girls, young women who want to become a cosmetic chemist is to look for a mentor that's a cosmetic chemist, because I didn't have a mentor. A mentor would have told me, you don't need to go to A&T to get a chemical engineering degree. You know, you don't. Oh, sorry, Dr.
She's an Aggie too. Heard.
Okay, now, no.
A mentor would have, let me know about some cosmetic science degree programs out here, because I was so passionate about formulating and, working for a contract manufacturer, and also just learning about the cosmetic science industry within itself. I didn't join Society of Cosmetic Chemists until I want to say like 24, I believe, 23 or 24. So I would have started when I was in high school or in college as a student member. So I definitely encourage, people who want to become a cosmetic chemist to join the Society of Cosmetic Chemists today. And with that, I became the chair for this year for the Mid-Atlantic chapter. So I'm very excited with that as far as the Society of Cosmetic Chemists. So telling all the girls, Society of Cosmetic Chemists.
Good promo. I always love hearing people's paths into the industry, because you learn so much about people, and sometimes everyone's path is so different yet so similar sometimes. For me, growing up, I was always interested in hairstyles, and just hair in general. And I used to read like the back of the hair product bottles, not really knowing like what any of it meant, but I thought that it was just really interesting, like how the things, those long words or short words on the back of the products that I was using on my hair, on my doll's hair. I was using the product on all sorts of junk, mixing things together, doing different styles, etc. But I just always thought it was so interesting how like those ingredients or those long words that were, I guess, unfamiliar at the time, could come together to make this product that I either loved or I either hated or did some really cool thing to the hair. So I always thought it was interesting, but funny enough, I never really knew that it was actually a career field. So I never thought of it as a career field. I just, actually kind of thought that maybe I was a little strange for like liking hair and liking products and stuff, because I didn't associate it actually with a career path. So I went to school for chemistry because I knew for sure that I wanted to do something within chemistry. And I wasn't really sure exactly if it would be like forensics or if it would be medicinal chemistry, or where I would land within it. So I went to North Carolina A&T, fine institution, for chemistry. And then towards the end of my junior or either my first senior year, I secured an internship at Procter & Gamble. And so there I was working on a Clairol, Clairol hair colorants. It was really like more upstream research. So it wasn't necessarily working on an actual product that was out, but it was working on a product that might be out in 7 years or so, something to that effect. And I did that for that summer, and I enjoyed it so much. I felt like I was right where I was supposed to be. And so from there, I just started doing the research of, like how I could get into the field and, what the best path was. And so like Jasmine, I went to Google. In some instances, I landed on the Society of Cosmetic Chemists page. Actually, at the time, I think it was the international page. And then it sent me to the US page. And I just looked at all of the different schools that had programs for master's and PhD programs. And I knew, like going through undergrad, that I wanted to get at least a master's degree. And then I started thinking, okay, maybe I could just do this PhD thing too, or, as an alternative. And so I found a program that had a PhD in cosmetic science. And so the University of Cincinnati had that program, and actually the oldest program in the country. And so I applied and got in, and everything just worked out so wonderfully. I mean, I learned a lot. I was exactly where, where I felt like I could be for the rest of my career, however long that might be. And if I can retire early, I'll take it. Like end of this month, I'll take it. But I do love what I do. I do love the cosmetic field. So just at the University of Cincinnati doing a PhD program, continuing to do internships in hair colorants and hair conditioners, in shave care, and back in hair colorants again. And then ultimately, like doing more in-depth hair research there as well. It really showed me that the cosmetic industry is where I want it to be. And the rest is history.
Thank you for sharing that. Miss Cynthia, you are the founder of your own company, Cindy J Labs. Why was it important to you? Why was it important to start your own lab?
So I got the idea of starting my own laboratory when I was graduating from college. But before, I just knew I was going to be working for like the big time brand companies. So like your Johnson Johnsons, your Estee Lauders, your L'Oreal's, all of those big time brand companies. I just knew I was going to be, the cosmetic chemist for these companies. But then I started getting into network marketing. And I thought to myself, you have to take control of you and then take control of your business if you want to start your own business. And it was bigger than, having money in my pocket. It was bigger than leaving corporate America and starting my own. I thought about all of these small businesses, startup businesses, indie beauty brands who were looking for a cosmetic chemist. They were doing things that they didn't have resources to show for. There weren't resources out there to debunk some of these myths or get rid of some of these myths that are out here in the cosmetic science industry. They were talking down on some ingredients that I thought to myself, wait a minute, we need these ingredients for this type of product. And then you would see resources, or you wouldn't see resources out there for small businesses who need access to manufacturers or access to regulatory or access to different guidelines to help them create their own product. So I thought to myself, you know what, take a few years under a contract manufacturer, learn the manufacturing business, learn the different cosmetic science innovations that are happening now and that will happen in the future, and apply that. Be a sponge. Just soak up all of this knowledge from your directors, from your presidents, your CEOs. Figure out what they're doing and figure out what they're not doing. I see that they are not catering to Black businesses at the time, of course. Now everyone wants a Black business under their belt. So, but at the time, they weren't catering to Black businesses. And when they did cater to these Black businesses, they took advantage of them. When it came to formula ownership, when it came to, manufacturing their products. I literally saw someone come into our research and development laboratory and say, just add a little bit of this ingredient in and they'll be fine. Things like that I see, and it just cringed me because I could not really take control of that. The only thing that I could do is maybe file a complaint, but at that time they had already, had this business with them. So it just made sense that I just had to leave corporate America. I just had to leave that contract manufacturer and just start my own to help out these small businesses and startup businesses so that they know exactly what's going into their product. They know exactly what their product should look like. They should have the different specifications of what their product should come out like. And then refer them to a manufacturer that has that integrity, that has that work ethic that will help them scale it up their units or making big batches of their units. So it was just important to just look out for my small businesses.
Yes, that is amazing and so needed. I also know who to call when I'm ready to create my own products.
That's right.
What do you like most about working in cosmetic chemistry? What are some of the cool things people in your profession do? This is a question for all of you. Who would like to answer?
I'll
I
answer.
can go first. Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
We could do the order of, I guess, how we would do it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, what I like the most about the industry, well, what's more the most gratifying to me is seeing the product that I've made on the shelf. So initially, that was like my favorite thing to see. It's humbling. It's inspiring. It's like, wow, I did it, right? But the nerdy thing that I like about this industry are the ingredients. So I like looking at the supply. So the suppliers are the people that provide the ingredients to us so we can formulate. I like looking at that information. So like the clinical studies, the efficacy data. The efficacy means how when it's applied to your skin, what it does and how beneficial it is. So I like looking at that stuff. That's probably my favorite part of uh, the science side of cosmetic science and the formulating. I miss the lab. I'm in product development, which I love product development, but I'm not gonna and I am talking to the labs every day, but it's been a year since I've not been in the lab and I'm itching to just mix something up, do silver homogenizer something, even do stability. I don't like stability, but I know it's necessary. I'll even do stability. Like I miss that.
I was gonna say that's my favorite part, Jasmine, is formulating. Yes, that
Well,
is definitely
it's
I
like
mean
doing laundry
talking
for me.
yes, yes. But talking to different like people, you come across like a whole bunch of different types of people and the types of products that they want, some crazy products that they want. But like as soon as I get behind that lab bench, I feel like I just everything is just out of my mind. It's just me and the formula. You know, working with different types of ingredients or different types of product form. So, am I creating like a powder to a paste, or am I creating a gel that feels like a cream? So, all of these different types of products, I feel like I'm just taking control over. No one can bother me. No one can say, you know, hey, we need your help with something. Nope, I need to be 100% focused with formulating. So, I think that's the best part about cosmetic chemistry, and some of the things that people do in our industry is keeping up with those up to date events. So, like again with Society of Cosmetic Chemists, whether it's Suppliers Day. Suppliers Day is where all of the suppliers come together, showcase their ingredients, showcase any type of innovative ingredients, and you get to attend this show and network with a lot of people. So that's one of the events that I always look forward to because I'm always trying to find the next best thing, especially for indie beauty brands. Again, because they just don't have that resource. So it's my job as a cosmetic chemist that has her own company to go to these different types of events and help out the small businesses.
The things that I like most about the industry, it's funny that Jasmine mentions the efficacy and the data packages and all of that, because that's my background. And so I was the nerd in the lab generating all of the data and doing all of the research and putting together these compelling data packages. And sometimes I actually miss that part of the cosmetic industry, because that's where, we talk about STEM on this panel. That's where STEM really is. That's where like the real core of the cosmetic industry is, because that's where the efficacy is. On the finished product side of it, the actual product of it, ideally the product should work and it should work well. But, the things that products are a lot based on emotion and experience as well. And sometimes the emotion and the experience piece of a product is not necessarily tied to the efficacy and whether or not it's doing what it actually says that it's going to do. But a consumer will still love it because it resonates with them in some sort of way. So that's why, Jasmine's comment about the data packages really resonates to me, because I'm very into the data and the how and the why of things. The other thing that I like about the industry about the cosmetic industry rather, is really impacting people because, you think about it, everyone is using some sort of cosmetic product nearly every day, whether it be toothpaste, body wash, deodorant, lotion, hair products, mini hair products, lipstick, any type of color cosmetic. You really are impacting everyone, to varying degrees. And we all have a sort of, intimate relationship with our products. I mean, if you don't have your favorite product, imagine how your day, how a bad hair day goes, or, you don't have the right moisturizer or the right sunscreen or that type of thing. So products really are important and they really are impactful. And so I really enjoy being in a position to sort of influence that. So for example, my company just launched actually a body care and an expansion of a body care line this week, which I wasn't a part of because I've only been with the company for a little over a year. But we also launched a full line of hair colorants. So hair lighteners, permanent hair colorants, demi hair colorants, those have launched for professionals. And the part of that work that I had was actually coordinating all of the testing for it, translating what that research meant for the claims for the project, for the products, and ultimately how we market them. So now I know that when I see something that says, X% shine or reduction in breakage, et cetera, tied to the color, I know, wow, like that was, a part of my work and a part of my headache, a part of my contribution, we'll call it.
Right.
But yeah, so it's really impacting people. So I'm happy to impact people's, beauty and their overall feeling of themselves. That's the rewarding part of being in this type of field.
Wow. It seems like you all have done so many different things. The work you do is so important.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I really felt that.
Dr. Evans, you are
Yes.
also a hair care scientist. Can you tell us about some of the work you do?
Sure. That's more so in my past, since I'm not actively working in the lab anymore, and actively doing research. But some of the things that I have done in the past in terms of hair care science, or hair science for short, is really looking at how things impact hair. Specifically, for example, how water impacts hair, how water hardness impacts hair. And some of the other things that a hair scientist does within there is actually use various pieces of equipment to understand how things are impacting hair and how to actually measure what's happening with hair, or to actually visualize what's happening with hair. And then there's also the piece of developing actual ingredients that then would go into the products that Cynthia is manufacturing for her customers, and everyone else in the industry as well. So really a holistic study of hair and a lot of research into how to improve hair, how to just understand hair, and how to impact it with various products and treatments.
I love that. You may need to help my mother out. Sometimes we don't know what to use.
Well, I will make a note. I'll make a note of that.
Based on reports, women are about 27 to 29% of the STEM workforce. That is not a lot. What do you think we can do to encourage more girls in STEM?
I think exposure. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I
Oh,
think
all of you?
exposure events just like what you're doing. One of the reasons why we're so proud of what you're doing is because it's giving exposure and showing young girls that, that the face of a scientist is not, or a cosmetic or a chemist in general is not, what we typically associate with, with whatever we associate it with, right? A woman can be a chemist. She can work in a STEM field. A Black woman can work in STEM fields, and it's not a specific type of a Black woman as well. She can have natural hair. She can be fabulous. She can throw on some red lipstick. She can throw on some heels. She can throw on, whatever. It's not a specific type of person. It's anyone who's interested in a STEM field. So I think exposure like this, I think also just little things like, for example, sometime maybe last year, I was in Macy's, I think it was, and I was walking by and look at this. This is it's a puzzle, but it's a girl in a lab, and look at
Wow.
her. She's being a little chemist. I nearly like screamed in Macy's because this is what young girls need to see. This is representation. Representation really matters, right? And so just even little things like this, a girl can see, oh, she's working in a lab, I can do it too. That type of representation and that type of exposure is really important.
I love that book.
I didn't hear you.
I love
it's
it.
actually a puzzle. It's a
Ooh,
puzzle. Do you know that? I'll send this to you.
You got it at Macy's, you said?
Yeah.
It was so random. It was just sitting on the shelf, and it was maybe like 5 of them, and I wanted to buy all of them. And I said, you know what? The point is not sales. The point is exposure. So you know what? They were at maybe like the bottom shelf. I put them all at the top shelf, arranged them nicely, and then I took one to buy just because I was just so happy to see it. And then I think the company might have a page on Instagram and a website. So I figured I would buy more from the website and leave those just for any kid to walk by and see, this little brown girl that's doing something, STEM related. I just wanted anyone to see it. I don't care if it was another Black girl or person of any color. This type of representation matters.
Right.
Just telling you guys, all of you guys can answer the question.
Okay, I'll go next. Actually, Dr. Evans, can you please send me the name of that puzzle? Because I'm supposed to be giving like a tour, walkthrough, practice session for young girls, and I feel like that would be a good gift giveaway.
Oh, for sure. I'll definitely send it.
Okay, thank you.
I still have it in the plastic like it's a collector's item or something. That's how touched I was about this puzzle. I was like, never opening it. It's just so beautiful. It's just like, I just could not. I know people in the store were like, why is she touching those puzzles like that? What is she doing?
Well, to Dr. Evans' point, that exposure is much needed, but it takes us cosmetic chemists to do this. It takes us to get out of the lab, get out of our comfort zone and just go out there and show the world like who we are. People aren't going to know that that a woman cosmetic chemist or a Black woman cosmetic chemist is possible unless they see us. And they can't see us if we're always behind the lab bench. So, and I tell that to like a group of cosmetic chemists that I'm very, close with. And Jasmine, from, when we had our STEM chat, we have to get out of the lab. I told her I just could not stress that enough. Like, you don't have to be a business owner to get out of the lab. We can wear so many different types of hats. We can wear the hat of marketing or branding or data usage or whatever the case may be, as long as we're out there showing that we are here. So exposure is great, but it takes the cosmetic chemist to get to that exposure.
Agree with both of you guys. Exposure is it. Like we said, we didn't see it. We were trying to Google things. Us coming up was a little bit tricky, but I don't want that to be that for you if you are aspiring to be a cosmetic chemist or the next person. So shout out to Amber because she replied to my little email when I was in college years back. And those type of experiences, as little as it be, is like it could be 3 sentences, but that touches somebody. Like there's so many people that I reached out to who I aspired to be like or aspired just their career path and just their encouragement or them just saying 2 words like that really helps the journey as little as it may seem. So anytime somebody tries to contact me via LinkedIn. I always pay it forward in some type of way. Again, we're super busy, but I try to carve out the time because I know what it was like to be in that situation. So, yeah. And community. I always like to, again, Society of Cosmetic Chemists is great. And I always like to talk to other cosmetic chemists who are within the field, especially Black women cosmetic chemists, and just build that community and relationship throughout because, we're all we got.
Right.
That's it. That's
Right.
it. And in terms of like getting more women into STEM, again, we just need to normalize it. You just have to normalize it. Like it's not uncommon. I mean, when I hear statistics like that, I know that it's real, but from my experience, in college, it was majority women. So when I hear numbers like that, it sounds really, really low. But if I think back on all of the people that I know in STEM, it's majority women.
Right.
That is true.
Yeah. But we just have to normalize it. I mean, gone are the days where, like professions are gender specific or like it's uncommon for, a woman to work in STEM or a woman to work in construction or, something to that effect. We just have to start recreating what the image is and normalizing that, STEM can be for anyone.
Right.
All of your answers were amazing. I think it is so important that we all do what we can to encourage and create opportunities for girls in STEM. I am sure this panel will help do that. So I started Lila's Promise because I like to help others and I love to have fun doing it. What do you like to do for fun and how do you help others in your life?
Ooh.
That's a good question. For fun, I love music. That's one thing. I'm a really big music fan, and I like to read. But that's fun. But it's like, it's reading. But I like music, and I like to sew and home decor. So like, I have little hobbies here and there.
Nice. I'm gonna have to contact you, Jasmine, because I'm trying to change my house into an Airbnb. So I'm gonna need your home decor.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got you.
That's a good business move. Yeah.
Yes. But I love music as well. I love to dance. Dancing is, I'm telling you, if I could just start over, yes, I would be a cosmetic chemist. But if cosmetic chemistry was not a thing, I would be a dancer, definitely. I just love to dance. You love to dance too?
Yeah, I do dance classes.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Yes. Love it.
Nice. Yeah, that's one thing I definitely love to do when, hanging out with family, hanging out with friends, networking with people, and, just having a good time. Definitely.
For me, I like to travel. I love to travel. That's my thing. I love festivals, concerts, because like the others, I love music too. And I like theater too. So I like to go to Broadway shows and different, dance recitals, various little things like that. And when I can combine all of them together, that's nice too. And then of course, if I can combine cosmetics with it too. So when I travel, I like to actually like at least take a look at the product. Sometimes I buy products from other countries, but sometimes I just like to walk down the aisles and just, look at the products because sometimes, the way that they market them is different. And sometimes it's different than how we would see it here. And then sometimes this is weird, but I'd like to see the ingredient listings and the labels in the different languages. I know it's weird. I can't read it, but it just really looks cool. So I just like to see the assortment of the products and the prices. Sometimes that's a shocker. The promotion, the just different things like that. So that's what I like to do for fun. Travel, shop, sprinkle a little science in there with it. Go to concerts and shows.
We have a lot in common. Helping and encouraging others is so important. Look how willing you were to do this with a 9-year-old. It means the world to me. And for my last question, what would you like to say to young girls to inspire them to pursue STEM?
Man, I think it's simple. You can achieve anything that you want to achieve. You don't have to know completely how you're going to achieve it, but if you have a general idea of what you want to achieve, you can break it down, like into smaller goals. And once you check off this goal, check off this goal, check off this goal, check off this goal, before you know it, you've achieved what it is that you wanted. So this is very simple. I think that, it's important for young girls to know that they can achieve whatever they want to achieve and not to be distracted by, what the majority looks like,
Right. Yeah, and
like
to
just
Dr.
because there
Evans,
aren't many people that look like you doing something doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing it or you can't do it.
right. Yeah, to your point, I definitely agree with that. If you feel like you belong in STEM, and I've noticed that a lot of younger people, the younger generation, the Gen X community is starting to bring awareness of imposter syndrome. And for the imposter syndrome, a lot of people feel like they don't belong in whatever, either in their career or in a relationship or whatever the case may be. And I see that in STEM a lot, where younger girls feel like they don't belong because, again, they don't see us. They don't see, that, oh, I am capable of becoming a chemist or a scientist in general, a mathematician. Um, just looking at women that are in STEM, but then they go through this imposter syndrome because, look at these brand owners who are catering towards people of color. They're all of another ethnicity. They're all of another race. Their board of directors are at another race. So if I myself am looking at this, it's like, how can I get to that level if that is the statistic? And we just have to continue to encourage young girls, young women, that you do belong here. We need people like you so that we can increase that percentage. We can increase that 27 to 29 percentage so that we can get above 60, above 70. And it's going to take us, but for the young girls that are out here who have that imposter syndrome, you do belong in this. If you have a passion for science, you have a passion for STEM in general, then God gave you that vision for a reason. He didn't give you that vision just to play with you. He gave you that vision to show you that you belong in this, and it's time for you to make a difference in this world.
Yes, I love that. And mine will be a little shorter, but nothing is linear. You're gonna see some bumps, roads, you know what I mean? Nothing is ever perfect. Do not look at the next person to the right and left of you and be like, I didn't reach that goal or that milestone at that time. You're your own person and you'll get to where you need to get to when you get to it. So I agree with both of these ladies' sentiments, and that was my 2 cents. Just focus on yourself.
That's a very good point.
A lot of times, and clap for the person next to you. Like,
Yes.
you do not have to be in competition. There is Pepsi, Coca-Cola, right? There's 7-Up, and Sprite, and there's how many toilet tissues, how many beauty supply stores and Chinese restaurants and supermarkets, right? There's so many of different industries, and they're all doing well in some way. You do not have to knock down another person. The competition, the only competition is yourself. And whatever you do, make sure it's in good faith.
Great advice. That's great advice. I know I'm so inspired, and I really enjoyed our conversation. I know the 3 of you are busy, and I want to thank you so much for speaking with me today. I learned a lot about cosmetic chemistry, and I'm sure the people watching did as well. To students watching, do not let anyone discourage you from pursuing STEM. You can do anything you put your mind to.
That's right.
Yes.